Welcome to the Hunt V Show, and my name's Hunt Vosch, your host, and I'm here with my co-host, who I actually invited. Finally, he decided to join for this. My best friend Connor McLaughlin, and current QU sprint football coach. What is up?
What's going on, Hunt? I'm excited to be the co-host. We've had many. Yeah, we'll say here.
Yes, there you go. There you go.
Pause there. No, it was. I'm glad you asked me. It was fun. The first time that you kind of brought this up, I thought it would be a fun thing to do, and so I'm excited to be able to be here and help you out with it.
That's for sure. I'm glad to have you, and I'm looking forward to it. As I kind of said that before, I'm like, I need somebody to join me on this because I've been working on it for a while. But yeah, we got some news for everybody that we're going to bring up, and we'll get our first one here just a second here pretty quick, and let's go ahead and get started here, Connor.
Yeah, so first thing we're going to talk about, MLB baseball. There's quite a few things that have happened lately. I think one of the first things that we have on there, most recently, Willie Mays, passing away. Again, a iconic member of the game, not just from a baseball perspective, but being one of the iconic African Americans that changed baseball for forever. Again, he passes away this past week. So again, that's been kind of hitting through the baseball world. But let's dive a little bit more into the Cardinals and Giants game that you had written down of that. I'm not a Cardinals fan, and Hunt knows this. I am a Cubs fan. I'm not one of those. I know. I'm not one of those that are, I hate the Cardinals. Again, I don't hate all Cardinals fans. That's not what we do. But again, Cardinals Giants last night.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. What happened? I don't watch it. So you got to fill me in.
They honored the league that everyone was looking at last night. That whole ceremony was awesome. Honoring the Negro League. It was great. Tribute to every single person there. Intro was great. They honored Willie, and then I guess his son threw out the first pitch, if I'm right or wrong.
Yep.
It was a great time to watch that. But yeah, the best part, Cardinals won that last night. Got a little bit worried because Ryan Helsley about blew it, but hey, they still won.
Well, there you go. And I know I did see, of course, with the news of Willie Mays, and I saw articles talking about the field that Negro League played in many years ago, that it's still active. I mean, people still use it. I thought the article had said that the MLB talked about bringing another game where the MLB got to play, at the stadium, and I think that would be awesome. Having that, it makes me think of when they brought a game and played on the Field of Dreams. That was, that's not far from us, about 4 or 5 hours in Iowa, that they used to film the movie Field of Dreams. So I think that would be really cool. I hope the MLB gets that done and finds a way to get a game playing there, because that would be really cool to experience for anyone around, or again just to watch it. I think that's pretty cool.
I would like to go to a Cardinal game there for sure.
Oh yeah, well, and that's my other thing. Who they're gonna pick, right? Who that would be an interesting thing of who do they
Cardinals,
pick?
Cubs.
Man, I would like to think you've got to have a team that Willie played on, or again, if you wanted to bring in the Dodgers, with Brooklyn being who first team to bring in African American into the MLB. So I mean, there's a lot of different options for sure. But all right, well, let's go with talk about Aaron Boone. Boone, Empire, and the umpire. I guess again got into an argument.
Yeah, that was that video popped up around my phone. I just kind of started laughing. I'm like, okay, they had a pause for the moment of silence of God Bless America, and then they just stopped there, standing right there by each other, holding their hats over their hearts. And I'm just like, and then next thing you know, they resumed it. I'm like,
and then they just went right back at it.
Right back at it.
They just took off right where they stopped there, huh?
Yeah.
That was like a week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I'm not a big baseball guy. I watch a little bit of it. Really, it's not until October.
Oh man.
It's one of those things. It's a long season. But I don't have the time to say, oh, hey, you know, on a Tuesday night, here we go. You know, there's a game on, I'm going to watch it. And but I've heard great things about Aaron Boone. I can remember Aaron Boone as a player.
Yeah.
That, again, puts an age on me here, Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember him as a player. But, all right, well, the last kind of big thing that we had here, talking about baseball, kind of leaving the major leagues and now moving into college baseball, was the ending of the Florida Clemson Super Regional game, which I did see this clip. I didn't watch the game.
Unbelievable.
I did see the clip. So again, what was kind of your take on that final, you know, couple minutes of that game?
Well, fight broke out. Yeah, after one of the guys ran into the pitcher and the pitcher shoved him right back. Then the bench is kind of clear, but everyone was close to their dugout. And there was one time there was a kid that got tossed and didn't really do nothing. Then you look at the video and they said he bumped the umpire, one of the umpires. Then they say he was going. They say he's ejected, and that's when everything got out of hand.
Now, didn't they? This was the game where there was what a lot have said to be a very blatantly missed call.
Yeah.
That then resulted in. I mean, not necessarily it didn't end the game, but then that extended the game and then allowed for this. That's the right one I'm thinking of, right? The Florida State Clemson game?
Yeah.
Or the Florida Clemson game,
I think
right?
it was Florida Clemson. Yeah, Florida Clemson.
Which in that, so what that brings up for me, right? Again, you're much bigger in the baseball side than I am. I think it brings up the topic of having replay or some sort of automated strike zone, because it was a pitch, correct, that was called a ball that I think when you rewatch it, I would say most people would say that probably was right in the strike zone. Or is it the opposite way around? You got to correct me if you remember. It's overall, and again, it is a missed call, whether it was a strike or a ball. So again, I'm going to ask you, and you're much bigger of a baseball guy than I am. What's your take on whether it's an instant replay type system or an automated strike zone where I hate saying it, but you're almost taking the back umpire out of the game of baseball?
Gotta be the instant replay, probably, I would think. I have no idea what's going on these days sometimes with the replay and then reviews or whatever that they have to look at for something. See who's gone, who's not. But yeah, it's just.
Do you think it's a good idea to bring that into baseball? I mean, honestly, baseball's one of those sports that there's not a lot of the instant replay in there. I mean, you see how much it is in football. I think basketball, you get a lot more of it in. So do you think it's something that needs to be brought into baseball, or does baseball need to be kind of kept
the way
where
it is?
Been?
The way it's been, man. Keep the review, but keep the reviewing for calls or whatever. If you need to review a call that's not stand or overturned, then out, safe or out. But yeah, I would keep it the way it is.
So try to limit, because even, again, when you say, keep the replaying, it brings up, football is more of the thing that I get more involved in, clearly, with being a football coach. But because there's always what do you review? Right? What is reviewable? What's not reviewable? Yeah. So, again, is a ball strike reviewable, or is it going to be out safe at first, second, certain plays? Like, where do you draw the line? That's what you know what I mean? That's what I wonder. Where do you draw that line?
Yeah, well, baseball, I see it all the time during games I'm usually at. I can see that there's a close one, then next thing you know, they go, check that, and then they go and check from their whatever office it is for MLB or whatever in college. But yeah, they check from their official guys back wherever they're from, like New York for MLB. But yeah, I could tell they're saying this is what we saw right here and whatever. So I say this calls this calls that.
Well, and it's even, I think one of the other interesting things that gets brought up is, does it slow the game down for a game that's already, no offense to baseball lovers, but it's already a slow game to begin with?
You got a pitch clock.
Right now you got the pitch clock to try to speed that up. The more that you want to get into how much replay can be involved, well, because again, it may only take, maybe it takes a minute and a half for a replay, but if you're having 15 replays in a game, now all of a sudden you're looking at a 15, 20 minutes added into a game that's already 3+ hours for a lot of games. I think that's a contributing factor in why people refuse or think it might be a bad idea to bring more replay into baseball.
Oh, shoot. That's a tough one here, but I'll keep the review on that one. I don't know. I guess you can bring more reviews into baseball, like maybe home runs. I mean, they do review home runs sometimes. Either fair or foul behind the foul pole or close to the foul pole. But, yeah, I guess you can bring it in a little closer, I guess, on that one.
I mean, I agree with you. I think you keep baseball where it is.
Yeah,
again, I mean, I don't think it's wrong to explore. Could it make the game better? But I do think, and I will be the first one. It's basketball officials. It doesn't matter. Any professional official, baseball I think is a little bit more precise because of. I mean, again, if you're that back umpire, you're calling balls and strikes. I mean, that ball's coming at you at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but you've got to have great vision, great confidence in seeing, and again, back in my youth days when I did play baseball, I was a catcher. Even in youth, you're taught as a catcher, again, to be able to try to see how quick you can move that ball back into the strike zone, how great catchers are at that nowadays. I think to be an official at that level, to be an umpire in the MLB level, major college level, kudos to you because especially the first couple times I saw games with replays, very rarely did I think those umpires were wrong. So for us to sit there and say, well, how many games are altered because of a wrong call from an official, honestly, again, there's a reason why the officials are at that level. Those umpires, I mean, they are damn good at what they do, and to be able to see even plays at first, and how quick we're watching it as fans at home, and you see, I mean, it's a millisecond. I mean, it is, and they have it with no hesitation. I think that's amazing. I love the keeping the original side of baseball, but that's human error is a part of it, and I think it makes baseball exciting. It makes all sports exciting. I mean, let's not act like it's any different for others, but keeping that human error, I think, is an essential. I think, and that's for all sports, but I think it's pinpointed on baseball right now for sure over these last couple of years with baseball and reviews.
Yes, it has been.
But
yeah. All
right, well, there's our first topic. We will take a quick break here. Second topic we're going to get into, basketball, NBA. There's been a lot of things happening here since the end of the season with now crowning a new champion, some new head coaches, things like that. So we will, after our short break here, we'll come back and we'll start talking about NBA.
Yes, sir. We'll be right back after this. The Humphrey Show for topic number 2 of the day. And we got NFL and what else we got over there? NBA? NBA
basketball.
NBA. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, NBA. So, first big thing with NBA, also kind of piggybacking off with MLB, Jerry West. Passing of Jerry West, who I would hope by now, I don't know, you're younger, huh? You know who, right, is the little NBA symbol, right?
I was probably a little guy back
Jerry
then.
West.
Yeah.
That's who has again, on all the NBA apparel stuff. So, I'm even not old enough to ever watch Jerry West, but
me either.
Similar to baseball, right? A iconic, iconic person in NBA, who again is a huge part of the growth of the NBA, where they are today. Again, we see his passing and how it affects the NBA, how it affects again the people of multiple decades who. Not only just grew up watching Jerry, but also, again, the impact that he had. So 2 different major sports here, having passings of major contributions, major contributors over, these last couple of weeks losing them. So, so been, shout out to all that Jerry West did for basketball. Yeah. But, I mean, hey, big thing is we've got a new NBA champion in the Boston Celtics.
Yes, sir.
How many? So let me ask you, how many of those games did you watch?
I try to watch as many as I can. I think I forget how many games I watched. Probably I did watch the last one, the championship one. I did watch game. Was it? Did it go into game 4?
Went into game 5.
Oh,
right?
so it went 5 games.
Yeah, the Mavs won one game, right?
Oh no, I picked the wrong prediction on that one.
Really, again, NBA is also one of those things to where I don't watch a lot of it.
Yeah, I watch quite a bit, and then sometimes I won't because I'm a big baseball guy when it comes to summer ball. But
right.
Yeah.
Now again, like I at least see enough of things on basketball. I'm a big Mark Cuban fan, just as a businessman. So I would love to see. It's nice to see the Mavs kind of back in it. I will say, I've been a Luka fan, but I will say kind of the little bits that I was able to watch at the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of a crybaby.
You could see like every time. How come I didn't get this call? I'm like,
I mean, it's something. And I think that's.
I get it.
I think that is something that becomes interesting because I think that's a topic in basketball in general of what do you have to do? When do you become that superstar in which you do get different calls? I mean, people talked about it. Michael Jordan got it. Kobe got it. I think LeBron gets it in certain aspects.
Oh, yes.
So when do you win? Or like what is it that earns you that spot? What earns you that ability for officials to maybe kind of treat you a little bit differently when it comes to those types of calls? What's your opinion on that?
They got trivia respect over it, that's for sure. Yeah, they got trivia respect over it. Like, say, hey, like, this is what we had here. And whatever.
Well, I think that's another, crazy. I mean, it's not like, again, Luka's not a rookie. I mean, like, he's been in the league, but I agree with you. I think one of the things that you have to do to get that, it is a respect thing. You know what I mean? It's definitely a and I, again, leading into this, I thought I've never heard anything bad about Luka and how he handles things, how he talks to people. I've always heard great things. Now all of a sudden, throughout the finals, I feel like all I saw was Luka kind of acting like a baby throughout the entire thing. I mean, that maybe it's just because they needed to find something to talk about because Boston was just absolute. I mean, Boston just destroyed.
Yeah.
Outside of one game, I mean, like no offense to the Mavs, but in my opinion, they didn't belong on the same court as what Boston was, except for what game?
No kidding.
Game 4 in which Mavs were able to pull one out. But what about Kyrie?
Kyrie, he tried to stay hot the whole series, man. I did see that one NBA shot he made the one year when Cavs won. That was the time when I was a Cavs fan because LeBron was on that team. He tried to make that one shot again, that fadeaway shot like he did that Game 7, I believe that was. Yeah, Game 7. Yeah, he missed it. I was just so close from being like, holy cow, he made that shot again.
Well, I think that's one of the things that, unfortunately, whenever Kyrie decides to hang it up, I think he's got a lot of good basketball left in him, but I think that's always going to be kind of something that's hung over his head is in the finals, honestly, outside of one or two games his entire career, he has not been the superstar that everyone kind of expects him to be in those situations, which, again, he has that major shot with the Cavs. In that game, I think when, his stint with Brooklyn, there were always questions on, is he going to be the type of scorer that we know he can be? And then now he's with the Mavs, same type of thing. Like during the season, you saw it. I mean, there was plenty of times where he was a major scorer. That was a great compliment to Luka. But here it comes in NBA Finals, and it's outside of one game, which was the only game the Mavs won.
Yeah.
Those two, again, tag team for a majority of the Mavs points. And, I'm a Kyrie fan. I like Kyrie.
Yeah, I like Kyrie, yeah.
I liked him since college, even though I'm not a big fan of Duke. But I think he's a great player. I'm someone who I love that he's, the types of awareness that he's brought to basketball. I think he is someone for young basketball players, especially from point guards. He is someone that they should look up to in his work ethic. I don't think he gets enough credit for his work ethic and what he goes through and how he prepares himself. And I think, unfortunately, because he's going to kind of have that kind of dangling over his head of he hasn't won the big games or he hasn't been great in those big games, I think people kind of overlook the other great things that Kyrie brings to the game of basketball. So, but we'll see. We'll see if the Mavs can put it together again next year and make their way back to the NBA Finals.
Yeah. Just hoping my Lakers get there next year, I'm hoping.
Yeah, well.
Don't.
we'll see with that. But, let's talk about the Celtics, right?
Yeah.
NBA champs. Mm-hmm. Now the organization of Boston holds the most NBA championships of any other organization in the NBA. Again, growing up, even in the time that I did, which growing up in the 90s, it was the Chicago Bulls. But if you think of NBA, Celtics have to be there. There's no questions about it. There's and it's I think it's you've seen the Celtics that I know, right, that I grew up with was Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett. Those were the Celtics that I remember the most of. Mm-hmm. And clearly, as they got back to the finals this year, I think you had a lot of, Ray Allen talked a lot about it. Paul Pierce talked a lot about it of, when you walk into that gym, you walk into that organization, hanging banners is an expectation. It's not oh, hey, let's hope that. No, it's you better be winning championships or you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing as a Boston Celtic. And, so congrats to them for putting that up. And that, again, another young team. It's not, with those young pieces that they have, this could be a mini little dynasty.
Yeah, it will. Great young coach, too.
I love their coach.
He is great.
From a coaching perspective, the things that he talks about, how calm he always is in some of those, nothing against media people. We're diving ourselves into being media people now, but how quickly does media try to spin things and try to make players and coaches kind of, look bad? And he is just so calm in those situations. I love his approach in terms of when people try to give him credit, he doesn't take the credit. It's my players do all this. I'm just here.
He always does it.
Me as a coach, I relate a lot to. That's very similar to how I handle things as a coach.
Yeah.
Is that it's never about me. It's always about my guys. It's always about those players, the organization, his respect for Brad Stevens, which I think is essential in order for you to win a championship. Is you got to have that much faith in the guy that's making the decisions on who's going to be on your roster.
Yeah.
But I think that's also something to look at. You have Brad Stevens, who was a college coach, did great things at Butler.
Yeah.
Then got brought as a coach into the NBA with the Celtics. Did fine. I'm
Yes,
not
he
saying
did.
he had a good coaching, but now he's in the front office, and now you have another head coach who has a college background. I think you're getting to, because we'll talk about here in the second with your Lakers on their new hire.
Yeah.
But I think that's an interesting topic, right? Is that the best route? Do you go and find college coaches to bring in the NBA, so on and so? You know what I mean? Is that the right route? And when you're seeing people get hired, who may not have the extensive coaching background, or maybe they weren't college coaches, but they've been in organizations or they've been great players, and now look at the Boston Celtics, where this has been a 10-year thing with taking Brad Stevens away from Butler, getting him into the front office, now finding another head coach who has a college background. I think it's great. What's your take on that?
Yeah, just keep that man. You gotta keep that man. Get his extension, man. Gotta give him an extension.
Yeah,
that guy's great.
Yeah, he's done a great job. Brad Stevens done a great job at the GM. Great for the Boston Celtics, and to have the chance to hang another banner. That's great for them.
Yes, sir.
Well, last kind of big thing we have with two big things we'll talk about with NBA or basketball itself. Your Lakers got a new man.
Yeah, JJ Redick, man.
What do you think about that? Give me your take.
I'm happy to see him on the sideline. I know. I mean, everyone says all the time either it's LeBron's decision, his decision, or the front office. But honestly, it doesn't matter whose idea it was. But yeah, I'm happy to have old Redick on the sideline. That's great.
Well, I also think it's interesting. We just talked about the Celtics getting going with college coaches. I mean, Lakers try to go get a college coach. They try to go get Dan Hurley from UConn, and he said, you know what, I'm okay. Which, again, kudos to him. Like, I mean, that's when they throw big money at you, and you can sit there and say, listen, I enjoy where I'm at. I like what I'm doing. I want to go get a three-peat at UConn and be one of the first, college coaches to do that in a long time since UCLA did it back in the, what was it, the 80s. So, I mean, kudos to them, but I have a love-hate relationship with J.J. Redick. As a college player, I hated him. I hated watching J.J. Redick. Now, again, I'm a UNC basketball fan, so anyone that plays at Duke, I kind of automatically have a negative feeling about you. But when he got out of – and I think he had a great NBA career. I think he played his role perfectly. But now seeing as being a sportscaster – seeing the mind that he has for basketball, I think you start to see why he was successful the way that he was. And I do think if you are the Lakers, right, you absolutely are tailoring to LeBron James. Like, let's be honest. I don't know why you want it. He's your star. He's the reason why you're relevant. Let's not act like he isn't.
Because my middle name is James, so that's right.
I mean, it's just it just makes sense, right? So if LeBron James says, hey, I have a good relationship with JJ. We will work well together.
Yeah.
I like what he wants to do. I think my big question is, LeBron, will you want to be coached by JJ?
Yeah.
And because I think it's been, at least in my mind, I watched their little podcast that they had, that they're live, and JJ doesn't back down. Like when LeBron said things that he disagreed with, I mean, he did not sit there and sugarcoat it. He was right forward with LeBron. I disagree with you. Yeah, Can that continue to happen? And if it does, I think they'll have a lot of success.
Yes,
I really
they will.
do.
Yeah.
What do you think? You think they're going to draft Bronny?
Oh, I haven't had anybody ask me that yet, but you're probably the first person that just did. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him playing with his own dad, but I hope so.
I mean, it's set up for them to.
Set up for him, but yeah.
I mean, they have like the 55th pick or something, I think is what they were looking at. To get him. I see why. I see that there's a lot of, positive reasons. I understand that there's some draft analysis that doesn't have Bronny as a great prospect, but I also don't think you got a lot to see, with his heart complications he had before, getting to USC. I mean, he wasn't a terrible off the bench player with USC, but there's not a huge sample to see what type of, but like his dad's LeBron James. Like, let's not. He's gonna work hard.
Yeah.
He's gonna learn. I don't think they're bringing him in to step on the court right away. I just think if this is one more thing that can make LeBron a little bit happier. And then what if? I mean, I think it's worth the gamble of saying, what if he turns out to even be the fraction of what his dad is?
Yeah.
And you guys get him in a steal. And, I did see someone else on one of the ESPN radios that talked about potentially, well, what if they don't draft him at 55? Nobody drafts him, but then you can pick him up as an undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
At that point, you're not wasting a draft pick, and you're still getting what LeBron wants, which is bring my son to L.A. I don't think that's a bad idea. If LeBron's okay with that, if he's not going to raise a fuss about it, and for Bronny, I don't think it's a terrible idea. Now, again, I'm not real big with the NBA, but there's something called a two-way contract. They were talking about this where if they drafted him, they don't want him on that two-way contract. Therefore, he can't play in the G League. I think it's essential for him to play in the G League. He needs to play in the G League. He needs to get some more of that experience to make him a better potential prospect in the NBA. And so that's a route they could go if he comes in as an undrafted free agent. He can get a two-way contract. So he could play in the G League leading up into playing for the actual Lakers. So I would say that would be a good idea. But again, they don't pay me to make those decisions. So
yeah, that's right.
But all right, last thing we've got talking about with basketball, the WNBA.
WNBA
the excitement of what the WNBA has been. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese,
CC.
This beginning, this rookie class, what they've brought to women's basketball. I think it's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
I love it. I love seeing it. Do I think there's been some over dramatic things? Absolutely. But that's what sports are nowadays, right?
Yeah.
It's entertainment, and people, whether you're watching it for good or a bad reason, people want to watch the WNBA now. They want to watch women's basketball, and they're tuning into what's the news in women's basketball nowadays.
Yeah.
Because of Caitlin Clark, because of Angel Reese, because of people saying maybe Caitlin's getting special treatment, or that people are focusing a lot more on her than the current WNBA players who have done a great job of continuing to build the league. Oregon, why do you leave her off of the USA team, the Olympic team?
I didn't understand why they leave Caitlin right off of that thing. I don't understand that. Who knows?
Who knows? Again, right? We don't get paid to make those decisions, but I think the most important thing that people should take out of this is the WNBA is now growing the way that they want it to. Don't rock that boat.
Yeah.
Let that keep going. Figure out how you can capitalize on that, and keep that rolling, because that's a huge thing for the WNBA as an organization, for all those people who played, before it to help build it, to now hopefully the future. So don't rock that boat. You keep that going, WNBA. You keep growing the way that you have this season, and hopefully that continues for you guys.
Yeah. Continue what you're doing, CC.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. That's all we've got here. We're going to take another commercial break.
Yeah.
And we'll come back and we'll talk about what I am more passionate about, being the NFL, football. I got a little bit more insight on that kind of stuff. So,
yes, we do. We're back and tell you more from the NFL and more. We're back after this break. Welcome back on the Humvee Show. I'm both Connor McLaughlin here with you for topic number 4, last part of the show right here. And we got some news around the NHL right now, it looks like. The Stanley Cup finals are still going on. The Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. Been a great series.
are we close into Game 7 now?
I think we're close in there, I think.
Game 6 or 7?
Game 6 or 7.
Hey, this is another thing, right? I'm not a big hockey person.
Right here, baby.
I've got a lot of friends that are huge hockey fans.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I think hockey is the best professional sport live.
Yes, it is.
My very first hockey, and maybe I just got spoiled. My very first hockey game live ever was the Blues and Blackhawks in St. Louis. I was like 4 rows behind the glass. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah, best rivalry.
It was so much fun to watch. I can't wait to be able to go back and watch another hockey game.
Mm-hmm.
I have trouble following the puck on TV. I got bad eyes. Yeah, I can't see where the puck's going. So that's part of why I'm not a big hockey person. But yeah, we're hopefully here in the next week have a new Stanley Cup winner.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. That's for sure.
But I will say, I mean, I do agree. I think it's been an exciting series. Anytime you're getting games into Game 6, Game 7 of a series for a championship, I think that's a good sign on both parts. So that's awesome for that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's we've got a couple other things we can talk about here that outside of other sports. Probably one that people maybe might question is a sport, but the Nathan's hot dog eating contest here that's going to come up here in a couple weeks in July. It will have a very different look because Joey Chestnut
got banned.
Will not be able to participate in the 2024 Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Now, did you look up a little bit of why this happened?
Over his sponsor for some beef, I think.
So, from what I had read, he has a sponsorship with a different hot dog company.
Yeah.
Or a company that, again, also makes hot dogs. And so Nathan's is a little upset.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what, Joey, we're not going to let you. Which, again, I don't know about other people, but that's one of my highlights of July 4th is watching the hot dog eating contest, because what a feat that is.
Yeah, because you're like,
I mean, it's, again, I am, if you're listening, or again, we will have this, live in video form. If you can't tell, I'm not a small person. I like to eat.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I like my food. I love hot dogs. So to be able to watch people down 40, 50 hot dogs in such a short period of time, I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I think it's so now I wonder, well, who's going to be the new one? I mean, who's going to take the crown? I mean, Joey Chestnut's winning the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, I even remember, and again, this ages me, Hunt, because you probably don't remember. MTV used to have a show called MTV Real Life, and they brought people in and they were just talking about their stories or trying to accomplish goals. One of these episodes had someone who was a competitive eater, right? And his goal was to win the Nathan's hot dog eating contest on July 4th. What was Eater X was his name.
Eater X.
He paints his face. He still does it. He paints his face in all American, again, red, white, and blue. And there's a big X on his face. I think he still competes. But this was like his beginning stages of his competitive eating career. And I mean, if he's still going, he's my vote. That's who I want to see win. Is Eater X here?
Eater X.
Maybe he's the new face of the July 4th hot dog eating contest sponsored by Nathan's Hot Dogs. So that's some breaking news here the last couple of weeks. I think the other one that we wanted to talk about is UFC. Justin Jacoby,
former QU guy here.
Well, I was a former kind of local. He played here at Quincy University, played football, and got himself in the UFC, and I mean, has had a pretty good career.
Yeah,
I mean, he's making a name for himself in the UFC. He had the co-main event here at the last UFC one in Louisville. Unfortunately, it didn't work out great for him. He did get knocked out.
I watched that clip. I was like, oh, man.
But again, what an awesome thing for us as Quincy people to kind of watch. And I know his former head coach Bill Tlisner, who is still around the Quincy area. I know he loves watching Dustin go and compete. I'm sure a lot of his teammates do. I think it's awesome. I'm fascinated by UFC.
Yeah. My dad's a big UFC guy.
Dude, those people are nuts.
They're nuts, like boom, boom, boom.
I mean,
punch.
Right? If you want that to be your career, being punched for a living,
I would be dead.
Like I give you kudos and credit that I will never. Because no offense, but I mean, football is about as far as I'm going to take in terms of getting my body beat up for for fun, I guess. But so kudos to all UFC people. That kind of I guess brings up a little UFC boxing. Right, I really hope we get to see Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I hope at some point that does happen.
Yeah,
I know it's been pushed back because there's been something in
Tyson's
Mike
awesome.
Tyson. Yeah, I mean
it's Paul.
There's something going on with Mike Tyson and his health, which shouldn't shock anybody. He's 60 years old. But
still fighting.
I mean, I hope that fight happens because I will root for Mike Tyson. Like a madman. I am not a Jake Paul fan. I want to see him get knocked out by a 60-year-old because I think that would be fun to watch. But so that's kind of some of the other topics we had talking about other national sports things that are going around the world. So now we'll get into again something that I think both of us are a little bit more passionate about, being local. Both of us being from the local area guys. Here. So I think the big one, right, which we just kind of saw on our break here, was John Wood.
John Wood.
They are going to be announcing on Monday who will replace Brad Hoyt and be the new men's basketball coach.
Yep.
They just announced, was it last week?
Yeah.
Or within the last couple of weeks. Women's coach, who is another local product, being from Camp Point, Illinois, playing at QU, finishing her career at QU.
Yeah.
And then again going and taking a little bit of a career overseas in Australia and a couple other places in Europe, and She was actually, so again, ages me as well. She played when I was in high school. I had a twin sister that was a very good basketball player. Camp Point was the big
twin
rival.
sister.
Yep, big rivalry with QND and Camp Point during that time. And it was always fun to watch her. She was a great basketball player as a high school player, and then again, clearly her college career, leaving and again doing what she did at QU, and then going into overseas. So. I wish her the best of luck. I've always said, I think John Wood girls basketball is a very interesting job. I think there's an opportunity there to really build something pretty special. And because I think I think Mike Elby and Brad Hoyt both showed the potential of what you could do with local talent, being able to develop them a little bit. And I don't think it's any different on the girls' side. I think there's a lot of really good girls high school basketball players in the area. And I think they made a great hire bringing on the new women's basketball coach.
Allie Schregmeyer.
Allie Schregmeyer Belcher. I think
Sorry, if I can get your name right.
She'll do a great job with that, and I think her and her husband, Courtney, who was also a basketball player here at QU.
Awesome guy, man.
They've done a great job already kind of building a basketball name for themselves here in the local area with their kind of AAU stuff that they've built. And hope for the best for her. And then, again, we're going to see now who they're going to hire for the men and to replace Brad, who's now here at Quincy, taking over for Steve Hawkins, who left. And Brad that was one of the other topics we had on here was his first kids camp.
His first kids camp. I kind of showed up too.
Here at QU, and I think they had great numbers. I think they had a lot of kids, at least from what I saw with pictures and stuff on social media.
That guy gets a bunch of great kids, man. That's awesome.
Again, it's the local thing, right?
He's
he's been in this area for 15 plus years, and he's got a great reputation for himself. And I'm excited to see what he can do with QU and bringing some of that local talent back here and. Seeing what they can do, but breaking news of they will finally have a replacement there for Brad, and some other things that we have on local. It kind of pairs together here. Shot clock.
The shot clock I actually announced not too long ago or so.
Maybe a week.
Maybe a week
and a half.
Maybe a week and a half or a week. I think so.
Illinois IHSA will be adopting a shot clock starting in 2026.
Yeah.
So there's a couple years for schools to get
time.
I agree. This is long overdue. I have been pushing for. I grew up playing basketball, and so I worked at Notre Dame. Has a big tournament over Christmas.
Is that what is it usually? Isn't that?
It used to be the Subway Shootout.
That's like in February around there.
So after Christmas, I worked a couple of those games, and there were some shot clock. I mean, there were times where we had to use the shot clock.
Yeah, because you had to play like in a quicker pace.
Yep,
and
I loved it.
I love it.
It was great. It was fun. It made the game more exciting. I hate in high school basketball as a player in high school, and then, again, watching now as a fan, I hate when people run the motion offense just to waste time. It annoys me. So, I love this. Great. Good job, IHSA. Happy that they're doing that. That's going to be exciting.
Shout out to everyone there at the IHSA, man.
Right, yeah.
Especially Mr. Kurt Gibson, if I'm right on that guy.
Is he the one that's head of baseball or head of basketball?
I think so, if I'm right.
Yeah. Good for you, IHSA. I'm glad. That's going to be awesome. Can't wait for that to happen here in the next couple of years. And that leads us into, we had the Muddy River Showcase, the senior kind of all-star game here this past weekend. At John Wood, Illinois versus Missouri. Love this.
Awesome.
My twin sister got to play in the women's one years ago. Now, this wasn't Muddy River. This was when KHQA did it, I believe. Back in the day. So I'm glad Muddy River is bringing this back. I love seeing it. I believe on both the men's and the women's. Illinois won, correct?
Yeah, both.
You were there.
I was there.
You were there.
I was in a little different spot, though, because I didn't get really see most of it.
Oh, that's all right. You were there. You were helping out. But again, right, Illinois won both.
Yeah, Illinois. Yeah, man, girls and boys both won.
Oh, that's good. We're
Illinois,
both
baby.
Illinois.
Illinois,
that's right.
baby.
We're both Illinois high school here. So
Illinois high school, baby.
That's a. But again, what an amazing. Being a former high school player, I did get a chance when I was in high school to be a part of the Do or Die Bowl, which was again kind of the all-star for football. That is, has been brought back at some point. I coached 2 different Do or Die Bowls when I was in the high school rankings, so I love it. I think it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, because didn't you do a year? What year did you do? Did you do? It was probably your first year, wasn't it?
It was. That was my first year.
So it was my sophomore year.
Correct.
Because that's when the both of us met for the first time, wasn't it?
I believe so.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I did it. I actually did it 2 years in a row.
Oh yeah, because you probably did Missouri.
I did.
First.
The first year I helped out was when Kevin Kreitmeyer was
shout
the
to
head
that
coach.
young man there.
When he was the head coach for the Do or Die Bowl, I helped him out. And then after my first year at Minden, that year Bill Cannell was the selected coach for the Illinois side, now it's more of the I-72, or it's more of like Northern Illinois versus Southern Illinois, thrown with a little bit of Missouri in. But again, Bill Cannell was the head coach of that. And I think maybe it was Ken Leonard. I don't remember who was the coach it was supposed to be like because it was Cannell's last year. He had retired.
Cannell's an awesome guy.
And I played for Bill. I coached for Bill for 4 years. So Bill asked me to kind of come and honestly, I ran the offense, which was weird. I was on the offensive side, which was weird because I've always been a defensive coach for Bill.
Yeah.
And then at Minden I was more so defense. But so yeah, I had 2 chances.
Yeah, because I do remember that.
Yeah, I got 2 chances to coach in those games. So again, I love that Muddy River is doing this. I love that they're bringing this, kind of senior all-star game back for our local seniors. And again, it's, anything that Muddy River does, I think is done very, very well. So
our guy, man, Matt Shuckman.
That's right. I think they do a great job. So, again, awesome with that. And, we've had quite a bit of some big news with, our local, sports.
Some of my local buddies.
Yeah, our local sports, WGM, KHQA, both are having some big, changes. Yep. KHQA, Zach Richardson announced that he's leaving. He's been a sportscaster with Chris Dewar. Again, another local from Louisiana, Missouri. So he will be leaving KHQA. So we should be having someone new come in with KHQA, and
WGM
is adding in Hannah Barton. As a new part of the WGM sports team.
Yeah.
With Reedy and
Bordanga, Victoria.
And then, Ryan Muma, my favorite.
Our guy,
Muma. Yep, Muma's my guy.
Yeah.
I love the radio show, and Muma always brings me on, and it's a great little trip every time I get to go into the WGM and get on the radio in the morning with Muma. So
it's awesome in there, man. You gotta like that place.
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
I haven't even been there in a while. So
his new setup, man, he's got it going on. It's a great little the car couch and everything. So it's
the car couch.
It's he's done a great but again, we've got I think hopefully as we continue to do this show, as we get into the fall and we get more local sports back, high school football is going to be around the corner, coming up here in August, and we get we'll talk a lot more about local sports. As the school year starts happening back up, and I think that will be an exciting thing for the two of us to dive into for sure.
Yeah, but Zach, we'll say it both, but Zach, we appreciate you with everything, man.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And Hannah, welcome aboard welcome to the Tri-States. You know what? We should try to get Hannah in here and all them guys on here, should we?
Absolutely.
We'll try to get her in here. But Hannah, welcome to the Tri-States.
Yeah, and again, being both of us grew up in the Tri-State area, I will say
more of a sports anchor guy.
Well, but what a amazing experience we have with our local sports teams. With our local sports media, right? Matt Shuckman's been writing for the local area with the Wig and now with Muddy River for many years. I don't think you find a better writer than Shuck. And again, Chris Dewar has done an amazing job over the last 15, 20 years, however long it has been that he's been on that. But Chris has done a great job.
Yeah.
Ben Martha did a great job at
Yeah.
WGM, and then WGM continues it with a lot of the amazing people they have and
Youngsters.
Yep, and again Muma and awesome for our local kids.
Yeah.
I've always said that. I mean, it's an amazing thing being a former high school player around here, being a high school coach around here. Again, you don't with the small towns that we have, you don't get that type of media coverage.
I know.
So we're very lucky and blessed to have that media kind of coverage in the local area with those amazing people. So, it's definitely sad to see Zach go, but where one door closes and another one opens, and I have a lot of faith in Chris Dewar and finding out who's going to be the next addition with the KHQA sports team, but we're excited to see whoever that is. For sure.
Yeah. Chris, keep doing what you're doing, man. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Also, shout out to the guys at the Hero Wig, man. Mike and Dorian, man. Yeah, those two. I give Mike a hard time when I see him, but
we've got, like I said, we got great
people, man.
Great people, absolutely. So it's it'll be fun to.
Chuck, you keep working your butt off, man. You've been doing this for I don't know how many is a while.
One of a kind.
One of a kind, man.
There's no doubt. There's one of a kind for Shuck. So, well, that's all we had.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah,
that's what we wanted to talk about here on this first episode. And
yep.
I know me personally. Again, Hunt, thanks for letting me be a part of this. And
you are welcome.
It's definitely. I'm excited to see where this goes, bud.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you on. Because man, I've been doing it. I've been doing this for like 4 years.
It's been years.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm excited to be a part of this with you.
Yeah, welcome aboard, man. Welcome aboard.
Well, all right, that's our first episode.
Yeah, that's our first episode, everybody. Tune in to the next episode sometime next week or so. We'll keep everything posted on the page or whatever on Facebook, X, Instagram, maybe my Snapchat.
Do you have a TikTok?
I am not making that.
You're not a TikTok person?
I'm not a TikTok person.
You, me both. You know this. I'm not a TikTok person. My wife is, but I am not a TikTok person.
I listen to it every time I'm in my house, and I know who it's coming from.
Yeah, your sister is on TikTok.
She's on it every day. It's nonstop.
But hey, that's what the young people like to watch now, huh? TikTok.
Yeah, man. But hey, I appreciate everyone joining this week's episode. And tune in next week for episode 2. We'll let you know with more updates and news from around the world and local-wise here from the Humvee Show. For myself, Hump Both, Connor McLaughlin.
We're out.
We're out.